As part of my What is Neurodivergence, I thought I'd share a bit more of my story. So I was a different kid and I was a different adult, and for some reason I just didn't fit in. I struggled making friends, I struggled making work friends. I could not understand how people did a full day of work and then went to the gym and then went out and had drinks with their colleagues after work. All of that just seemed so tiring for me. I was able to get through massive amounts of work in really short amounts of time. I could push incredibly hard compared to my colleagues. I'd work until 3 in the morning and then I'd be back in the office at 9 in the morning and do that for substantial amounts of time. I was different and people didn't seem to understand me. I had to try and either dumb down what I was trying to say, or I would rephrase something 4 or 5 times to make sure that they got it, because people just didn't know what I was actually talking about. I was often called oversensitive. I was told I was overreacting, I was too sensitive, I was all of these things. So the blame was always on me for having too strong emotions about whatever situation it was. Somebody saying something about me or comments or whatever the case may be. I was always the problem. I was always the one who was in the wrong. Now, I had relationships, they fell apart on me. I couldn't figure out why. I'd done everything that I possibly could. I'd loved these people with all of my heart. And yet, they didn't understand. They didn't open up, and things just didn't work. And I was in a lot of pain, and I was trying to figure out why I was so different to everyone else. And during this period, a friend of mine was in the process of getting a diagnosis, and they said to me, maybe you should check this out. And they sent me a link of autism symptoms in women. And I think it was a list of 51 or 57 items. And I went through this and I checked off just about every single one on that list. And I was like, what does this mean? And I went and I did another online test, and true as rain, it came back with, you are likely autistic. The same friend put me in touch with the Neurodivergence Center in Cape Town. And I met with a therapist who is wonderful. She is just magnificent. And it took a while, but I eventually got my autistic diagnosis. Then the same friend actually, said to me, maybe you should investigate ADHD, considering how many crafts and things I do and how my brain never stops running. And I had a look at the quizzes and the tests and all of that stuff, and I got my ADHD diagnosis. And I'm currently on treatment for that. So it's been a journey, and I cannot remember the person who used this quote, but it was something that has rung true for me getting my diagnosis. And he said, if you have a unicorn that's in a herd of horses, those horses will do everything that they can to kick this unicorn out. They'll bite it, they'll kick it, they'll make its entire existence really uncomfortable. And that's what I felt was happening with me. I was being hurt unnecessarily and I was uncomfortable. So my diagnosis named me the unicorn, and I was able to leave the herd of horses I'd been so desperately trying to be a part of for so long. And I went to go and find another herd, and I found my herd of unicorns, and it's been amazing ever since. And having the opportunity to work with people who are going through this stage of losing the identity of who they thought they were and gaining the identity of who they are, there's wonderful moments in that. There's adventure, there's excitement, there's new prospects, there's new awarenesses and understandings. But the other side of it is that there's mourning. There's mourning of the person that they were, of the dreams that they had for this person. There's anxiety, there's even a level of terror, because you could lose skills that you had learned with masks on that you suddenly can't access. And this happened to me during lockdown, where I suddenly couldn't do my job anymore because all of the skills that I'd learned as a masked individual, I couldn't do without my mask on. And I've had to relearn how to do all of those things. So being able to offer support for people going through this process is so important to me, because I've been there. I've been through these terrible ups and downs without the sort of support structure that I needed. Obviously, I've had my therapist towards the end, but having a coach or counselor there on a more frequent basis would have made this easier. Having a coach who was able to help me set goals and be accountable and achieve things and view the world from a slightly different point of view would have been amazing. And that's why I chose to change from a counselor, which I was from 2018, into a coach, so that I can help people plot their life forward now that they know that they are neurodivergent, and work with their families as well, because a support structure is so important. And not having a support structure that fully understands what you're going through and how difficult what you're going through is also really hard. Not to mention, they have lost a person. They had a mental picture of who you are and what you did and all of those things, and suddenly you're not that person anymore. It can be devastating for them too. So offering support to them, because I've been on the carer side of a relationship before my diagnosis, and I've been on the needs care side post my diagnosis, both my disability and my neurodivergence. So I chose to become a coach to lessen the blow, and because it is absolutely wonderful to watch people creating the lives they want and moving forward, embracing who they are. And I cannot tell you how much joy it brings me to see my clients take these steps and overcome the challenges that they're facing. It's just amazing. So now you know a bit more about me. I'd love to learn more about your stories, so leave a comment. Thanks.